Hey guys, Togsy here from the platform. We have a great young team of people that put the show together every week, but we couldn't do it without our sponsors, and they are UltraTune. Sean and the team, thank you so much for backing us. Carlision, Huss and the guys, the best car repairs in Australia. RS Chase Lawyers for all your legal needs, and Property Direct AU. Sam and his team will look after you. Thanks guys for supporting the platform, and now back to the show. Welcome back to the show, and something now that is completely random. Everything about it is pretty random. I saw a story on Facebook, I think it was a link from a newspaper, about a lady making $50,000 a year from people worshipping her feet. And I started Googling and I thought, that's a crazy story. I'd love to get her on, and we swapped messages. Gweneth, the feet belong to Gweneth Lee, and we swapped messages on Facebook. We jumped on Skype, and here she is. About this fascination that dudes have with your feet.
You know, it's something that's been around a long time. When I was in my teens, I was a model in California, and I used my feet, and I was a foot model, and I didn't think anything of it till I went to Europe and started learning about lots of different cultures with feet. And I was photographing all these vacation pictures of my travel, because I travel quite a bit for work and pleasure. And I just had so many people responding well to my feet that I started posting lots of pictures of just my feet. And then I created my own Instagram account and immediately got lots of followers. And, I've traveled a lot around the world. And the one thing that I have noticed is, for example, in African and Caribbean culture, women's feet are very important to them, that you can tell social status by their feet. And, for example, if I was to meet a black man, the first thing he'd probably do, some men look at different parts. They'll always look down at your feet, because I noticed a lot of my Caribbean girlfriends in London, always wear open-toe shoes. They said, yeah, he's got to know where I'm at. And in Arab, yeah, right? Crazy, huh? And in Arabic culture as well, if you show the bottom of the feet, it's an insult, or the bottom of a shoe, it's an insult. And it's just kind of been a funny learning curve. I'm just fascinated by all the people that just like the soles of my feet.
That seems like a pretty interesting lifestyle. Can I ask about the journey that you've been on?
Life has been a crazy, crazy journey. So I'm originally from Southern California, from San Diego. And I met my late husband in California. He was a golfer. He was there on business. And I was a resident in the Netherlands and stayed with him until he died. And stayed there, lived throughout Europe, and lived in London. So it's been a bit of a crazy ride. But I did have, I think, the stories you're probably referring to as me as being a mistress to married men, I would assume, right?
Yeah, leads into that.
Can I say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just kind of the story. I mean, I had an open marriage with my late husband. I was his fourth wife. There was no hiding it. We had a large age difference. We had a 20-year age difference. And as someone's fourth wife, no one is fooled into thinking that they're married a saint. And, of course, any man who marries a woman who has the courage to marry a man and be his fourth wife probably isn't a saint either. But we had an open marriage, and after he passed away, I tried dating on vanilla sites or regular sites and just didn't find it great. So I went on a married site and started having affairs with married men, and I just liked the dating better and just stuck with it.
It must get interesting at times, because I saw an interview you did on a UK breakfast show.
Yeah. Oh, God, that poor journalist. I thought she was going to cry.
Yeah, it was it gets intense, because it's a pretty touchy subject, and because you're so open about it, you must get a lot of pretty interesting feedback.
I agree with you, Andy. I mean, I think the biggest thing was the website in the UK is called Illicit Encounters. And the reason I went on that website, which was the controversial one in the UK, was I was living with my partner at the time, who was 50% owner of a Formula One team. So here you have this wealthy, powerful man with his finger on the dial of one of the greatest sports internationally. We're flying around on jets, this and that, and due to, terminal illness, he became impotent. And I was trying to spice up our marriage, see what we could do, because the Viagra and the Cialis and all those other drugs were working. So we started going to swingers parties. And, that kind of somewhat, but then it reminded him that I was still young, and we had a 28-year age difference, and he wasn't young anymore. And so I went on a married dating site. He said, listen, you do what you got to do as long as it's discreet. Went on the married dating site, took a lover, and just stuck with it. It was great. It was fun. And, the part that they didn't touch on that morning show was something that, would explain to a lot of people. I mean, people say, oh, you're a husband stealer. I'm not stealing anybody's husbands. If it's a dating site, two people chose to be there. I didn't go searching for them and put them there. They were already there offering themselves. And my partner was terminally ill, and I had permission to go and date men, and married seemed safe simply because basically, they were looking for a discrete solution. I was looking for a discrete solution. And, it is what it is.
I'm scared to ask this because I love asking people about like interesting stories and stuff and best moments.
Absolutely.
But what's the craziest thing you think you've done?
Jeez Louise, what do you call crazy?
I don't know. I'm scared, but excited to hear.
I mean, it's there's so many things that can be interpreted as crazy. I mean, I'm on the kink, I'm a kinky girl. I've had affairs with married men where I've taken them to swingers parties and they'd never swung before. I had an affair with a quite conservative Scandinavian businessman where after a year into our affair, he thought he'd introduce BDSM to our relationship and said, "Have you ever heard of this?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm dominant." And he was like, "You're kidding." And I said, "Why don't we book a dungeon and find out?" And he became obsessed with it. And I mean, it got to a point where I once took him to a dungeon, tied him up where he was hanging from the ceiling suspended, threw water on him, electrocuted him. And then that evening, sent him out to a charity dinner with his wife.
Do you ever get bored if you meet a guy and you just want to sit on the couch and watch a movie and like cuddle and kiss?
I had a dog, and I did that with my dog. I spend a lot of time with my family, and quality, loving, caring time with my mom and my brother is important to me. But sitting on the sofa, cuddle and kiss, I suppose, that would be nice. But, I think the problem that women run into, and not necessarily men, and it could just be my experience, is that the more interesting a woman is, the more difficult it is to find a partner. I think that there's a lot of men who are looking for probably a polite term would be a little bit of a softer woman. I mean, I'm an alpha female. I've had businesses and traveled the world, and my sexuality is strong. So that's quite intimidating for most men. And then throw in the fact that I'm kinky. And I've dated some severely wealthy men. I mean, my late husband owned a factory in his country that supplied jobs for many people. I dated a Formula One owner. I dated an astronaut who was one of the people who walked on the moon and is still living. And,
Wow.
So throw those in there. And, I can meet a nice guy and go, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm a dog walker." And he'll be like, "Oh, how sweet." And then we go to dinner and he's like, starts talking to me, and I can't hide my life experience. And that's, for some men, intriguing, and some men terrifying. And so, the married men are easy. They're just thrilled to have me when they get me.
Wow. How do we find you online for our viewers?
Oh, it's super duper easy. Gweneth Lee. It's the Welsh spelling, GWENETH. And I'm online. I'm easy to find. I have about 4 or 5 Instagram accounts. I have a Facebook page. I'm all over Twitter. I'm easy to find. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I've got my foot fetish, dominatrix. I organize adult lifestyle parties. I'm in Puerto Vallarta now for a hotel takeover with a lifestyle group called Luxury Lifestyle Vacations. And I'm the in-house dominatrix this week. So you'll probably see, if you go to my Facebook, lots of images, which I'm allowed to photograph.
Wow, that's so cool. Well, look, thank you so much for the quick chat for our show. It's been great to have a chat with you.
It's been great talking to you, Andy. Thank you for your time.
So there you go. What a wonderful and random world we live in. Thank you so much for watching the show. Don't forget to check out our socials, theplatformtv.net, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.